News from around the globe. Hot, fresh, balanced and objective.
Hello and welcome to News Hour on Unity TV. Today is Thursday, 4th of May 2023 and it's equivalent to 14th of Shawwal 1444 after Hijrah. The headlines. Buhari launches Nigeria Agenda 2050. First batch of Nigerians fleeing Sudan finally arrive in Abuja. APC NWC fails to zone National Assembly leadership seats. And on the foreign scene, Ukraine war, Zelensky in the Hague as fresh blast rock cave. And in sports, Erling Haaland set new Premier League scoring record as Man City returned to the top. And those were the headlines, and for details and more of the stories, I am Rukayat Sani Ibrahim. President Muhammadu Buhari has launched a new long-term national development plan known as Nigeria Agenda 2050. He inaugurated NA 2050 yesterday in Abuja before the commencement of Federal Executive Council FEC meeting. NA 2050 is aimed at ensuring Nigeria attains a GDP per capita of $33,328 per annum, placing the country among the top middle-income economies in the world by 2050. GDP per capita is a measure of a country's total economic output divided by its total population. According to World Bank data, Nigeria's GDP per capita was $2,065.7 in 2021. Speaking at the launch, Buhari said the plan has a vision of a dynamic, industrialized and knowledge-based economy that generates inclusive and sustainable development for the country. He said given measures already put in place for continuous plan implementation, successful administrations will find the document useful in the delivery of electoral promises. The first batch of evacuees from the war-torn Sudan to Egypt arrived in Nigeria on Wednesday. The evacuees were the first batch who arrived at the Aden border last week Wednesday, April 26, for airlifting in Aswan, Egypt. The first batch of evacuees experienced some delays as a result of formalities issued by the Egyptian authorities to enable them to be airlifted to Nigeria. However, the Air Peace plane arrived at 11:35 p.m. with 278 passengers, while NAV C-130 arrived at 11:55 p.m. with 98 passengers. The chairman Nigerians in Diaspora Commission Abike Dabirerewa expressed hope that those yet to arrive will be airlifted speedily. The National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress failed to take a decision on the zoning of the Senate presidency and speakership of the 10th National Assembly during its meeting in Abuja on Wednesday. The national chairman of the APC, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, disclosed that the NWC could not take a position on the zoning arrangement without the input of the president-elect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was away in Port Harcourt to inaugurate some projects executed by the Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike at the time of the meeting. The 4-hour meeting, which started at about 1 p.m., was presided by Adamu with no fewer than 18 of the 24-member NWC in attendance. The parley was expected to lay to rest the speculations about the zone that will produce the principal officers of the 10th National Assembly. While the Southeast and South-South lawmakers believe it is equitable to award the Senate presidency to their zones, their northern counterparts are insisting that only the parameters of competence and experience matters. Addressing newsmen after the end of the parley, the chairman disclosed that they had a meaningful deliberation that further connotes that the party leadership remains more formidable and united. The Senate on Wednesday passed the bill recommending life imprisonment without an option of fine for unlawful explosives manufactured in the country. Section 11 of the bill seeking to repeal the Explosives Act 1964 and enact the Explosives Act 2023 passed for third reading in the Senate on Wednesday. The bill states that any person who unlawfully manufactures any explosives commits an offense and is liable on conviction to life imprisonment without an option of fine. The passage followed the consideration and adoption of a report by the Senate Committee on Solid Minerals, Mines, and Steel Development and Metallurgy, chaired by Senator Tonko Almukura, Senator Adelere Orio Lowo, APC Oshun, who presented the report on behalf of the committee chairman, said the problem associated with the use, shipment, manufacture, sale and possession of explosive was huge, adding that criminals were getting more innovative in the use of explosives to perpetrate crime. The bill is expected to be transmitted to the House of Representatives for concurrence before taken to the President for possible assent. The President-elect Bola Tinubu is a light-hearted turned down a request by Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State for a refund after embarking on the construction of some federal roads in the state. Tinubu, who spoke on Wednesday while inaugurating the Rumola flyover in Abia, Akwai local government area of Rivers State, said he doesn't owe Wike a dime. The president-elect asked Wike to lobby him for a refund. Meanwhile, Tinubu has said the Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike promoted unity, fairness and equity by ensuring that power shifted to the south at the expiration of President Muhammadu Buhari's tenure. On his part, Wike said the projects undertaken by the state ought to be done by the federal government. He stated how the state had to amend its procurement law to enable it to source funds and complete the various flyover projects it embarked on in record time. The majority leader of the House of Representatives, Alhaji Al-Hassan Dogwa, on Wednesday hit back at his critics, stressing that any leader who can manage 4 wives and 28 children like him can aspire to become the Speaker of the 10th Assembly. The lawmaker, who is currently facing charges of criminal conspiracy, culpable homicide, unlawful possession of a firearm, mischief and public disturbance, also argued that his trial should not stop him from becoming Speaker because he is innocent until otherwise proven. Recall that Dogwa was arrested at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport on February 28, 2023 while boarding a flight to Abuja and has since been released on bail. The police had earlier been on his trail after he was accused of leading thugs who attacked and set on fire the office of the new Nigeria People's Party at Tudunwada, where 2 people were also burned to death during the coalition of results of the just concluded elections. The Nigerian Senate has appealed to the government of the United Kingdom to pardon its member Ike Ekweremadu, who was found guilty of organ trafficking in that country. This was a sequel to a motion moved by Chukwuka Utazi, PDP Enugu North, during the plenary on Wednesday. The appeal comes as a UK court is set to pronounce sentence on Mr. Ekweremadu, his wife Beatrice, and a Nigerian doctor Obina Obita on 5 May. They were found guilty of conspiracy of organ trafficking in March by the Westminster Magistrate Court, an offense that contravenes the Modern Slavery Act. Mr. Ekweremadu, a former Deputy Senate President, represents Enugu West Senatorial District in the current Senate. He was arrested in June last year for bringing a young Nigerian to the UK with a view to harvesting his organ to treat his daughter Sonia, who is suffering from kidney disease and needed a transplant. In his remarks, the Senate President Ahmed Lawal therefore urged the British government to temper justice on the former Deputy Senate President, saying the sentencing, if required, should not be too harsh. Mr. Lawal noted that he had personally sent a letter to the UK government seeking clemency for Mr. Ekweremadu on the organ trafficking offense he is found guilty of. The Ogun State Police Command yesterday paraded a serial killer cum ritualist, Ifesoji Ayabesan, who recently offered a 1 million naira bribe to police operatives in the Ijebu-Ode area of the state to enable him to escape arrest. Ayagbesan was one of the 14 suspected criminals paraded by the State Commissioner of Police, Oleraju Oladimeji, at the command's headquarters, Eleweran, at Biokota. The police boss said Ayagbesan has, over the months, been on the police wanted list over a case of ritual killing involving him and 8 others who are currently standing trial before the court, being traced to his hideout in Ijade Iloti axis of Ijebu-Ode, where he was arrested. Addressing newsmen during the parade, Oladimeji explained that the suspected ritualist was responsible for the killing and dismembering of a victim identified as Oyin Damola Adeyemi, wherein he took custody of her 2 legs before selling her other body parts out for ritual proposed earlier in April this year. And on the foreign scene, explosions have been heard in Kiev and other Ukrainian cities a day after Russia accused Ukraine of carrying out a drone attack on the Kremlin. Attacks were also reported in Zaporizhia and Odessa in the south. The airstrike comes as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is due to speak at The Hague as part of an unexpected visit to the Netherlands. He will also visit the International Criminal Court, which is investigating alleged Russian war crimes in Ukraine. Russia has accused Ukraine of attempting to assassinate President Vladimir Putin, but Mr. Zelensky denied that his country carried out the attack. During his visit to the Netherlands, Mr. Zelensky is expected to meet Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte. Dutch media said that the two were likely to discuss Mr. Zelensky's demand for more military support, namely long-range weapons and fighter jets. And in sport, Erling Haaland set a new Premier League goal-scoring record as title favourite Manchester City reclaimed top spot with a comfortable 3-0 win over West Ham. The prolific Norwegian raced through for league goal number 35 of the campaign, surpassing the previous best mark held by Andy Cole and Alan Shearer on 70 minutes as City eased to victory at the Etihad Stadium on Wednesday. His sweet left-footed chip over Lucas Fabianski came after Nathan Ake had headed City in front on 50 minutes and before Phil Foden wrapped up victory with a deflected long-range volley. The win took the treble-chasing champions a point above Arsenal at the summit, and with a game in hand, they seem to be cruising towards a fifth title in 6 years. And with the sport news, we've come to the end of our bulletin for today. You can follow us on our social media handles at Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at 20 Radio FM TV, respectively. You can also watch us live on the satellite decoder Badarsat, which has been watched in about 38 countries of the world free. You can also follow and stream us live on our YouTube channel at Unity FM TV. I am Rukayat Sani Ibrahim. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of our programs.
I was the head boy in my primary school, senior prefect and best graduating student in my secondary school, but drug abuse almost ruined my life.
I was on an average of 2 grams of cocaine per day.
I was taking 8 ampoules of pentazosine daily.
European shisha, cocaine.
I became a user, a dealer and a gangster.
I saw other users drowning. I knew I didn't want to be like them, but I was already trapped.
My family disowned me.
My employment was terminated.
I sold my car, sold my house. I'll go out well-dressed and return shoeless, shirtless in exchange for drugs.
I was seeing things that were not real, and I once stabbed myself because I felt something crawling under my skin.
I contacted NDLEA and started therapy.
I spent 3 months in therapy.
I spent 8 months.
It's easy to relapse, but your mind has to be stronger than the cravings.
Drugs does not love you. You are not the one using drugs. Drugs are the one using you. Say no to drug abuse.
Unity